right, welcome in everybody. It is Tuesday night. Daniel has the night off, but you know how we do. We keep on rolling, and we always got to keep rolling when it comes to Tennessee baseball. The defending champs, absolutely reloading. It's what Tony Vitello does. Number one transfer class, number one recruiting class, just absolutely killing it. And tonight, just another one. When we talk about guys coming from junior college, we have seen some really big names pop up, and they got a chance to develop their skills and then bring it to D1, bring it to the SEC, and absolutely dominate. And so with that, Brandon Arvidson, how you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
Man, stoked. Like I said before you came on, get a chance to know you, so that way when I see you dominate out on the bump, I'm like, I know that guy, right?
Yeah.
So but it all starts to, how your story started. But before we get there, we got to talk. The MLB playoffs just started, but I don't even want to talk about that specifically. I want to talk to you about the best players in baseball, and they happen to be hitters right now, and you are a pitcher. But if they stepped in the box, Judge, Ohtani, Bobby Witt, who's the one that would scare you the most?
Growing up in Southern California and being an Angels fan, I got to witness Trout in his prime. So I know he's been hurt for the past couple of years, but I feel like he'd scare me the most.
Yeah, I think right now he's kind of forgotten, which is crazy, right? Because he's that good. Let me ask you this, right? We talked about it last night on the show, so this wasn't a planned question, but Skeens talked about he became a better pitcher when he just focused on pitching and stopped hitting when he came on here and talked about it. Austin Riley came on here and talked about when he quit pitching and just focused on hitting, he became a way better hitter. You look at what Ohtani's doing. He obviously is going to pitch, but do you not agree he probably is going to benefit more from being just a hitter?
Yeah, I feel like I could agree to that. I mean, he's just that good. I also just think he's that good on the mound. I just personally think he's the most gifted baseball player to ever live so far, and he's just that good.
And he's got a good personality to go with it, right? He's always out there smiling, having fun. He's got his dog, like all that stuff. So good for growing the game for sure.
Oh, 100%. He's awesome to watch. Even though he's a Dodger now, he's awesome to watch.
Yeah, is that I've never asked that before. Is that a thing when you're an Angels fan? You're obviously an American League team, but I mean, do you have some disdain for the Dodgers?
I would say it's disdain because they've made it to the playoffs a good amount and actually won a World Series recently. And as an Angels fan, we haven't made a playoff since 2014. So it's rough sledding out here as a fan, but yeah, I mean,
if Daniel was here, he would tell you I pick the Angels like every year as my dark horse, just hoping I'll be right at some point. And I feel like statistically it was going to happen by now, right? But it never did. And so, but I will say this, at least you're not an A's fan, man. That whole situation, a guy that just left your team, Blake Burke, him and his dad, diehard, out of Oakland, raised and watched all the games. I couldn't imagine, losing your team because the owner doesn't care, man. That's just a wild situation within itself.
No, it's tough. It's sad to see, especially with how much love they've been showing and how much they want the team to stay. It's sad to see.
Absolutely. I heard a thing there's still potential. It could actually come back. If he botches this thing so bad, they can actually vote to boot him out of ownership. And supposedly the Warriors owner wants to buy them and bring them back. So hopefully this dude just continues to be a trash ball. I normally don't root for people to suck, but in the case of the idea that they could come back and a guy will actually invest a ton of money into them, sounds good to me. But
yeah.
Enough of that. We got to get into your story. All things are bigger in Texas. That's where you reside from. But where in Texas are you from?
So I'm from Dripping Springs, Texas. It's about 30 minutes west of Austin. I originally from Southern California, but I moved out with my family in 6th grade, and I've loved it ever since out there. It's an amazing state and amazing people out there. And yeah, it's just been an awesome experience.
So talking about fandom, do you grow up a Longhorns fan?
So I did when I moved here. My best friend, his mom actually worked for Longhorn Network, so she had all the ins with tickets to basketball games, football games, all that. And I wanted to go there out of high school. They just never recruited me. So
Their fault. Their fault.
I mean, it is what it is. I ended up going to A&M, and then that was that.
Yeah, and then now Tennessee. I mean, I'll tell you this, and we'll obviously get to that later. That's later on down the line. But I mean, your options. I mean, we're talking about the best of the best and elite. So I mean, nothing short of opportunity, which you earned obviously because you had to go through a long route. But let's talk about family for a second. Just looking through your profile, seeing you got some siblings and everything. Seems like you got a decent sized family. Tell me about them.
Yeah, I have an older brother and an older sister. I'm the youngest of the family. And yeah, just family's everything to me. My parents are extremely supportive. I love my siblings to death and just really close with them. So just family's a huge aspect to me.
A lot of times the best athletes that we have come on here are the younger siblings because they talk about how much their older siblings help them, not even just as an athlete in general, just as a person developing, right? So having two older siblings, would you agree saying that, that played a big role in you having success as you grew up?
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, I got to learn and experience through their learning experiences. So it was just something that I got to grow up and just witness. And I got guidance from them on like relationships when I was in middle school or like just like getting in trouble with mom and dad, like stuff like that. They were always there to support me. And I was just really close with them.
No doubt. So obviously, growing up playing ball, who was your biggest influence when it comes to baseball though? Was it, one of your siblings? Was it mom or dad? Was it a coach? Or maybe, we talk about these players that you watched and inspire you, like who was the biggest influence on baseball with you?
I think it's come from different people along the years. My dad is the one who got me into it initially and coached me when I was little, and he's always been there every step of the way. But my grandpa, he actually played professional baseball for the Giants back in the day, and I just looked up to him so much, and he we used to watch sports games all the time, watch baseball, talk baseball. He unfortunately passed away in 2018, but I mean, he influenced me a lot. And then my mom always just she's become the baseball mom and like loves traveling and going on road trips when we were playing select ball and stuff. And she's been amazing, like extremely supportive of me.
Y'all just landed at the right spot. Let me go ahead and tell you, man. You can go look through my past post. I get the privilege of going to all these games everywhere, and I have crowned the Tennessee mom group as the most fun mom group. So if she likes coming to the games and supporting and having a good time, she's joining the elite group.
Oh yeah, she's already looking to rent out a house for the spring and just be at every game, even if I'm not pitching. She just loves baseball, and I know my dad. My dad, when he's not working, he'll love being there too.
No doubt, no doubt. So let's talk high school. Obviously went to Dripping Springs High School. Talk about things bigger in Texas. A lot of known for football. So I see, team MVP, and I see all the accolades and the stats. For high school baseball, how competitive was it where you grew up?
I'd say it was really competitive. It was definitely challenging. I was such a late bloomer in high school that I honestly hit puberty when I was a junior and kind of sprouted up and had to earn a spot on varsity. I was talented, but I was always undersized. So it was hard for me to compete at a younger age. But then when I grew a little bit, my head coach, Chris Payne, he was just super influential to me because he always gave me so many chances to prove myself. And I wouldn't be playing now if he didn't allow me to do that, because obviously there were some tough times and learning experiences. But yeah, I mean, overall the talent that comes out of Dripping Springs is pretty elite. There's actually 2 PG All-Americans on the high school team this year that are seniors, and one is coming here next year, Taylor Tracy. But yeah, I mean, that Austin area just produces a lot of talent, and yeah, it's just competitive baseball. It's Texas baseball.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I haven't heard anything negative about that area. That's why I make the comment. I've obviously been down there and watched sports at a college and professional level, but when it comes to high school, you see it on TV, whether it's football or baseball, and it just seems, and even basketball, like it just, I don't know, man, it really does feel like everything's great down there. But, you know, you talked about being a late bloomer. It's one of the reasons why I love the commitment process now changing to junior year, not just because I don't like the eighth grader making a big time decision that he's not old enough to make, but so many guys develop in an interesting story you might even know or might not even know from a former Vol. You know, Ben Joyce, the reason he went to junior college was he didn't hit his growth spurt till senior year, but he had already committed to that college and he believed in, you know, sticking to it, not bailing on them. And so most people like try to figure out how he ended up at junior college. And it's like, dude didn't hit a growth spurt. He grew 9 inches his senior year. His velo jumped 11 miles an hour. So yeah, like coaches probably like regret not recruiting him earlier, but like, yeah, now that they wait and do it to junior year, a lot of guys like yourself, most guys, I mean, are undersized. I know that I didn't even hit mine until the year after I graduated. I ended up putting on 20 pounds. I worked out the whole time in the weight room, Brandon. I couldn't get bigger to save my life playing football. And then I joined the military. My workout don't change at all. Next thing I know, I put on this muscle. I'm like, what the hell, bro? It's a late bloom.
What military branch were you in? My brother's is in the Navy, so
That's what I was in. I was in the Navy. It was actually really cool. I signed up to be a sonar tech. Went to California. Went to school out there to ultimately end up doing drug ops out of South America and air defense in Iraq, and never be a sonar tech. So I went to school for a year. At least I got to spend time in San Diego, but I never actually did that job.
I got you. I got you. That's kind of
Wasting the government's money at its finest, but it's not like I made that choice. They sent me to a ship that didn't do sonar, and they're like, "Hey, kid, you're going to SRFA score, and you're gonna learn how to use guns and climb aboard ships." I'm like, "All right." So
yeah. I mean, that's just kind of how life works sometimes.
yeah, I mean, the ultimate curveball is why I'm doing this, right? Like I ended up having cancer. I was great as military, ended up having to medically retire out because I had cancer. Ended up like lost in oblivion for like 3 years, and then so into sports, like started a podcast. So you never know. You know, they show that thing where it's your plan, and then it shows God's plan with all the curves. Like that's reality, and we're fixing to get into yours, right? I mean, yours is going to take a lot of different jumps. I mean, let's get into it, right? Like, so you go to A&M. You talked about Texas did not actively recruit you. Was A&M, like, especially being a Texas guy, like the next best choice to you, or were there some other options you considered?
Honestly, I didn't know much about A&M going into it. I originally committed to Texas State my junior summer for about a month, and it was just like something that was heavy on my heart, and I just like I'm a very like faith oriented guy, and I just felt like it wasn't the right place for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I just jumped the gun on the decision because it was one of the first schools I got offered by.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, I was excited, and I was very blessed for them to reach out to me and to offer me. But in my heart, I did not feel like that was a place for me. So I ended up getting recruited by A&M, and I didn't know much about it. My sister actually transferred from Baylor to A&M, so that was another thing. I wanted to be close to her. But yeah, I mean, not too much about it.
Well, we talk about, you know, I already made the comment about elite schools. Texas State falls in that category too. Obviously, not A&M in Texas, but you know, obviously, I'll put it this way: D1's doing their rundown of top 100 schools. They're down to 45, and Texas State has not been listed yet. So, tells you that they have them ranked in the top 44. So. But yeah, a lot of opportunities, but I'm glad you brought up your faith because I've been trying to, I've actually even got a side show that we've done 5 episodes now. Our last one was 2 Tennessee athletes, but called Athletes of Faith, getting them to open up. But I believe any athlete that tells me that God pulled them to a different direction, I would never, got a phone call. I would never question that decision, man, because if you feel like that place is not where God wants you, then that's not where you want to go. And so I like that you followed what you felt like he was calling you to do. And so you go to A&M, you redshirt. And I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. Interviewing as many athletes as we have, so many guys have talked about what they were able to learn by redshirting, because you learn the nutrition, you learn the weight room, you learn everything it takes to play college baseball, the practice routines, and get to manage your academics. So, redshirt year, were you able to maximize the value of being able to do that?
Hold on. Mom was calling me. So my freshman year, I was actually gray shirted, which meant I wasn't able to practice or lift with the team when it came springtime.
Oh.
So yeah, I mean, that was a tough hurdle, but
they need to fix that on here and not set me up for failure. It straight says red shirt season. Don't say nothing about what happened.
Yeah.
But okay, so with that being said, we don't get many athletes. So educate me, man. You say you don't get to be a part of certain activities. What do you get to be a part of?
Not much. I mean, you can use the facilities and work out there and say you're a part of the baseball team, but when it comes to like practicing and lifting, you're not allowed to lift with a team. So that was hard for me because I love being a part of a team and I love being like a part of a group. And being a teammate's one of my favorite things because I can always control that and I can't always control my performance. So yeah, just being taken out of that equation was tough for me, but it was definitely a learning lesson. And it just made me value it more.
And being I'm glad you're somebody within your faith, because I'm probably sure it started to make you question a lot of different things. And from a mental health standpoint, I mean, I'm sure, like you just said, you like to be around guys, you want to play. Like, I'm sure that puts you in a depressive state. So you got to really find yourself in that moment. But obviously you find a destination. How does San Jax become the school for you?
So my summer of 23, I was planning on going back to A&M for my fall, my sophomore fall, and things didn't work out. They told me not to come back. So the summer ball team I was playing for was the Brazos Valley Bombers, which is in TCL, and one of the coaches there was an assistant at San Jax. And mind you, this summer, like, I'm not pitching great. It was the first time I pitched in like over a year in a real game. So it was like just rusty, no confidence, some performance anxiety in there. And this coach just took a chance on me. And he really did. I truly believe he saved my baseball career because he gave me an opportunity to go play somewhere.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, you talk about performance anxiety. You went and committed to a school and didn't get to play. I know that. I mean, and like you said, you don't play for a year, and then next thing you know, you're out there. All the other guys probably didn't have, skip a beat, right? And so definitely got to be tough. But your strikeout numbers, you struck out 108 in 61 innings, 4-3, 3.84 ERA, 1.43 WHIP. I know your walk numbers were not ideal, but you didn't give up very many hits. You seem to be a guy that, based upon this, you really attacked guys, right? When you look at how many strikeouts, and then you had some walks, but very few hits. Talk about that mentality and that approach, because regardless of having some anxiety, you clearly weren't afraid to throw strikes.
Yeah, I mean, it took a while for me. I wouldn't say it was smooth sailing the whole year at San Jax. I remember my first outing like it was yesterday. And I think I walked 4 guys, hit a guy, and gave up a hit, and then they called the inning. So, yeah, I mean, it was never smooth sailing. Even in the springtime, the start of the year, I mean, I was struggling because I had such a good end to my fall, and I had some pro scouts coming out to watch me. I had committed to Texas in the fall, and I think I let the pressure get the best of me, and I struggled a little bit as the spring went on. But then I just kind of took a step back and realized how blessed I was to be in that situation. And yeah, I mean, it was just something that I couldn't have gone through alone, and I had a lot of support around me just to continue going.
Does it take off pressure or add pressure once you make the Texas commitment? Because it could be one that like, all right, well, I got a commitment, so I don't have to meet a certain expectation, or is it, hey, now that I'm committed to them, I got to show them they got the right guy?
Yeah, I think it kind of depends person to person. For me, I know that once I committed, it was like I had to prove myself and prove I was good enough to go there at some points in my mindset. Um, and obviously, too, when you commit to a school like that and then you go into the spring, everybody's going to know who you are and everybody's going to have their best game when they come to play you. So that's always an aspect to it.
Yeah, no doubt. But nonetheless, regardless of the ups and downs, I mean, like I said, that's a solid stat line. Like I said, a lot of strikeouts. You got it even, some starts, some bullpen. You got to, kind of experience it all. So, obviously you make the commitment to Tennessee, decommit to Texas because of the coaching change. Um, you know, not even going to talk. Like, I don't even have to have the conversation anymore. Like, we've had enough guys talk to Tony V, like, or even it doesn't matter who you're talking to, whether you're talking to Frank or Coach Elander. Like, I get all that. Like, I just want to know the genuine excitement when you're going to join the defending national champs.
Yeah, I mean, when it came to this summer, honestly, I wasn't even after the whole Texas situation. I wasn't even looking to commit to a school. I was just going to sign in the draft. But Vitello reached out to me the day after I got out of my NLI. And obviously, I mean, after watching Omaha, that was something that was like close to my heart because I was at the SEC level and all my buddies from A&M were playing in that game. So it was something that like I felt like I wanted to do. And talking to Vitello and talking to the coaching staff, they're just genuine people and they're not used car salesmen. They're not going to sell you anything. They're just real with you. They're not going to promise you anything. They just telling you that you have an opportunity to come play here. And that was what I loved.
That's absolutely accurate. I've told every guy. I remember talking to Tanner Franklin because he said, I would love to be able to earn a starting role. And I said, you're going to have it. No, it doesn't even matter if they were on the previous team and won a championship. Everybody's going to get to compete. Tony plays it fair. But for you and Tanner, for that matter, I was talking about it the other day because we had Seth Halverson on the show back in the day, and you see what he's doing for the Rockies. And we start just listing off all these guys that we've had on from Tennessee. And I mentioned Joyce earlier and Blade Tidwell and obviously Beam and Burns and all those guys, Dolander. And I just think about, because none of them were that guy when they got there. And I'm thinking about the development that Frank Anderson has done with these guys. And I started to think, man, he might be the greatest pitching coach of all time. And some people may say I'm reaching, but if you just look over the last 6 years and you look at the development of the guys that came in there. So for a guy like you, not only are you talking about a team that's going to Omaha every year, a coach like Tony V, who's a player's coach, but you're talking about a guy in Frank Anderson who's developing true pros. So not only are you thinking, man, I can go to school here and go to Omaha and try to win a national championship, I'm going to be with a coaching staff that's going to develop me into a professional. And so, like, that's just, I mean, you picked it. And it's not like I'm wearing the gear, but I'm an LSU fan. And
Yeah.
I tell you right now, as a pitcher, I'm going to Tennessee all day over LSU based on what Frank Anderson's doing.
No, he's an amazing coach.
So, with that, you've gotten there, you've gotten acclimated. The practices have started. You talked about being with the guys. The culture in Tennessee, we've never had a guy not talk about it. I remember we had Billy Amick on last year, a few weeks into the fall, and he just talked about he immediately felt like it was a family-like atmosphere. How's it been for you?
It's been great. I mean, all the guys on our team are just amazing people, like individually. They all like genuinely care about each other. I have not once noticed any bad blood between one person. I mean, obviously there's tiffs here and there, but like it's just a genuine family and everybody cares about each other and like the overall success of the program.
Yeah, and so you're at Knoxville. Let's talk about the other stuff. I mean, they're the number 4 ranked football team. Their home game environment's elite. They got Morgan Wallen concerts. Like, have you been able to experience Rocky Top at its fullest?
So I've only gone to one game, and it was against Kent State. I've been kind of waiting to go to a game, like to all the games, to get a good experience for my like first time. And I know there's some big ones coming up, but I mean, it's been great out here. Just I think the city's really cool. It's got that like small town feel. And just the people, everybody I've met here has been amazing.
Yeah, I mean, and the sports are I mean, the way the fan bases love all the sports, it doesn't matter which Tennessee sport. I mean, they're fanatics for real. And so, I mean, and they're making obviously the upgrades to the stadium. You're going to see, man, I went to Lindsey Nelson for the last SEC series of the season, and then I decided to come back for regionals, and then I got invited back for super regional. So went there 3 straight weekends, and that environment was electric. And the fact that they're adding on to it, man, you're going to see it's a really, really passionate fan base. But the game you got to go to, football, Tennessee lives to hate Florida, and it's a night game. That's got to be the one for you. It's only, man, October 12th. Make that one.
Yes, sir. Will do.
And then obviously Alabama's after that, but that's going to be the most elite game. But that one doesn't necessarily going to guarantee a win. I can tell you right now, they're going to beat Florida.
yeah.
But no, the Alabama one, man, a couple years ago, the baseball players, we messed with them, and one of my hosts is a Tennessee fan. We definitely saw them in the videos with the goalposts running out to the river. They were exposed. We told them, but what a moment, man, when they beat Alabama and rushed the field and tore down the goalpost. It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to experience that.
But getting back to baseball, man, talking about that culture, y'all got some good fall games scheduled. You're actually coming my direction, so I'm gonna get to see you because over on the west side of Tennessee. You talked about how good a fall you had at San Jax. And we talk about competing position for position, because obviously a lot of transfers came in, obviously a lot of big time recruits. So how excited are you just from a competitive edge, man, with your teammates to try to compete for one of those positions?
Yeah. I mean, I think being a competitor is my like biggest attribute. I wouldn't say I have the best stuff. Wouldn't say I have like the most overall talent, but I'm always going to go out there and compete every day. And I'm just always grateful for the opportunity to be able to do so and to be healthy and be a Tennessee Volunteer. So, yeah, I mean, it's just been great.
Well, last thing, talking about your stuff, you're big, tall lefty, obviously, man, people drool over something like that. Let's talk about the pitching arsenal, man. What are we bringing to the table, and are you working on anything?
Yeah, I'm bringing fastball, slider, changeup. I think my fastball runs up there pretty good. I typically like to throw it a lot, just challenging hitters. But changeup's the bread and butter to get out of jams and get weak contact, and I love throwing it. And yeah, I mean, I'm just bringing the table, being a competitor, no matter what it is, starting, relieving, or being a teammate. Like, I'll always just be there to compete against the other team.
Yeah, if you can, I tell you what, this upcoming season, because there's 6 elite, and then there may be guys I don't even know, but there's 6 elite infielders competing for 4 positions. And I can tell you right now, you're going to have the best defensive infield. So you get that ball on the ground, hey, they'll do the work for you. So Don't necessarily got to always strike them out for sure.
Yeah.
But with that being said, man, we're going to play a game called This or That, play with every guest. I've actually been doing the MILB edition. It actually started because of Chase Dolander. He sent me a Yard Goats hat autographed, and I started collecting. And then the next one I actually got was from the third one. I got Tim Elko next, but then the third one was Simo with his and the Trash Panda. So I got a whole collection, and now I'm all about the MILB mascots, man, because if you haven't paid attention, just like the coolest thing ever, not just the logos, but the names themselves. So sometimes we do this or that with ordinary questions, but this one's going to be the MILB edition. So I just give you 2 options. You choose one or the other, whatever one, you would rather play for if you were picking based upon the name.
Yeah.
All All right, here we go. Storm Chasers or River Bandits?
Give me the Storm Chasers.
Yeah, I actually got that. This one just our very first guest ever we had. Jonathan Bolin plays for the AAA Storm Chasers. That's
Okay.
there. It's pretty elite.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, we'll find out if you're a cats or dogs person, man. The Fisher Cats or the Sea Dogs?
Sea Dogs.
No doubt. All right, the rest of them are hard. The rest of the way, the Biscuits or the Rubber Ducks?
Rubber Ducks.
It's been a while since we had the Rubber Ducks. It's an elite one, but people like the Biscuits, especially they got man, they're really good with their social media presence and that the whole hashtag butter up, and they got some elite stuff. This is actually I just happen to have these here. Whatever. This is their alternate, the Gray Sox.
Okay.
But no, can't go wrong with either. We had Doug Nikhazy on when he was pitching for the Rubber Ducks, and I was like, "What's it like, man? Just wearing that Rubber Ducks cross thing?" He's like, "It's pretty fun. We play a kids game, and it kind of just adds to that."
Yeah.
All right, River Dogs or Rail Riders?
Rail Riders.
All right, Yard Goats or Mud Hens?
Yard Goats.
All right, Trash Pandas or Rumble Ponies?
Trash Pandas.
All right, so got to go Yard Goats or Trash Pandas?
Trash Pandas.
Trash Pandas all the way. And then their alternate, right? I didn't even know it until I went there. I go there to watch SEMO a couple weeks ago, and I go into their store, and there's this cool hat and this cool uniform. Anyway, their alternate is the Lunatics, and it's like this crazy gnarly dog with the ball hanging out of its mouth. And I was
Wow.
dude, they got but like all their gear was sick. And then there was 8,000 people at a AA game, like, and their facilities were nice. Like Rocket City, man, they got it like going on. They had like an elite food menu. Like I usually I'm kind of depressed when I go from these SEC venues to go into a minor league stadium where there's like a couple hundred people there. No, not there, man. That place is elite. If you get drafted by the Angels one day, hey, you're gonna have fun because you're gonna go through there.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
But that being said, man, you're off the hot seat. It wasn't hard, man. I thank you for coming on. Is there anything you got that you want to plug or promote? Anybody you want to shout out before you get off here?
Just shout out mom and dad.
No doubt. Well, that is Brandon Arvidson, everybody. If you like hearing this story or you just like hearing us average Joe's talks X's and O's, please like and share the podcast on Facebook. Retweet us on Twitter. Listen and subscribe on all listening platforms. Check us out on YouTube. We'll be back tomorrow night. We're going to head out to Virginia Tech for the first time. But remember, in the meantime, strong body, sharp minds, grit and grind all the time. We are out.